favorite salad to order is a Greek salad, and we have an updated version right now with Chef Devan. So we know all about olives now.
Yes.
Now we want to do a recipe, and this one is from your restaurant.
This is from Lock and Key. This is from the restaurant. This is a modern approach to the classic Greek salad. And you know, in the recipes, I like taking classics and reinventing them or putting twists on them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of components that go into this salad.
Okay.
And one of those components is the pickled onions that we do. Now, I want to share a big tip with you today. When you're making a pickling liquid at home, a lot of chefs and a lot of restaurants, they'll use a method that's known as 1-1-1 or 1.5-1-1. And that essentially is vinegar to sugar to water. So this one here would be 1-1-1, which is 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of acid, in this case it's red wine vinegar, and 1 cup of water. The water is there to kind of balance it out a bit, otherwise it's too intense.
Right.
If you wanted it to be more sour, what do?
You put more of the acid.
Exactly, and if it was too sour, you wanted to make it sweeter, you could add more sugar, you could add honey, agave. Similar to the acid, you could use white wine vinegar, champagne vinegar, lemon juice, you know? World's kind of your oyster, you can do whatever you want. So here, what I have is just the 1-1-1, and then I cool the liquid down and I just let the onions soak in there. And because I use red wine vinegar, you get this kind of beautiful pink color.
How long is it sitting in there for? Because I always think if you are, the process is long.
This is a great question. If you're running out of time and you have guests coming over in like 10 minutes, add the onions in while the liquid's hot, it'll pickle faster. However, if you do that, the next day they'll probably go a little bit mushy. So it's always best to have your liquid cool down a little bit. But you know, if you're in the weeds, like we say in the restaurant, then you're gonna want to get this in a little bit hot. But it's best to let it cool down, and then this will last for weeks, for months. So that's one component. The second component is cucumber, but it's not just any kind of cucumber. And I'm laughing because like this is going to be interesting. So the cucumber, what could it be? So the cucumber is compressed, right? So we take our cucumber and we get nice chunks. And then what we do at the restaurant is we compress it. And when you compress cucumbers, you add it to a vacuum sealer. And it changes the cell structure. There's, you know, it's fruits and vegetables like watermelon, which gets compressed, and cucumber, they're porous. And when you change the cell structure, the flavor changes slightly, but it's more of a textural thing, it's more of a visual thing. So I'm thinking at home, I'm like, how do I compress vegetables without a vacuum sealer? And I found something online, which is pretty cool. You can get a bag, and you can get a straw. And you can put the straw in the bag. And
you're going to take all the air out that way?
And you can just do it like this. Watch. I'll show you. And make sure it's all flat in one layer.
Wow, it's actually working.
And see how it compressed a little bit there? You can obviously do it a lot more if you get maybe a thicker bag, or you take your time and do it. But it compresses, and what this does is that it transforms this vegetable into something like this.
But what do you do after you've taken all the air out?
You leave it. You leave it overnight in the fridge.
Oh, you just leave it overnight?
Yeah, and it'll continue compressing, and then it gets opaque. And this is another important component for our salad. And this is another way to go above and beyond when you're trying to impress those guests.
So as you mentioned, what it changes is the texture.
It's visually, the cell structure changes, so you can see the difference between the two, right?
Yeah, you can.
You can see how much different it is now.
Yeah, keep holding that for a second.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Okay, good. So it takes a while. Good stuff.
So, another thing we need to make is our really cool vinaigrette. So we have Kalamata olives in here, so I want to do a Kalamata olive vinaigrette. Now, I didn't bring an olive pitter today. The reason why is because I've said it before, I don't believe in having just one tool for one job. You'll never see me with a garlic press or anything. So I have this this Kalamata olive here. I'm just gonna gently press down on it. And as it flattens, I can easily remove the seed. It's that simple. This goes in there. To this, I'm gonna add red wine vinegar. I could add white wine vinegar. I could add a different type, but I do want this to have a beautiful color at the end.
I knew it was for color. You're big on color.
Really, really big on color. So it's important that you do that. A little bit of oregano is going to go into this. I don't need to add salt because there's a lot of salt. However, I do want to add a little bit of sugar to this because a little bit of sweetness. And then I'm going to add in some olive oil. I'm not too concerned about emulsifying this. You know, broken vinaigrettes are a really popular thing these days.
And what does that mean if it's
a broken vinaigrette is when it's not fully emulsified. In fact, you can shake it right before it goes to serve. And it almost splits in the bowl a bit. It's like a big thing now, and it's really exciting for me because my whole life I've learned to cook and emulsify and have things blend together and not split. And now having them split is kind of a trend.
It's just everything's letting us be more lazy. It's great. So good.
I don't know about being more lazy.
You don't have to wash your hair. You don't have to emulsify the vinaigrette.
I don't know.
Just get lazy, people. It's in style.
It's a cool thing. I don't even
No,
know
it's
how to
good for me,
respond.
honey. Listen, I'm looking for every shortcut imaginable. I'm all right with that.
So you see, it doesn't take much measuring, but this recipe is on the Cityline website. Not too much measuring, but you can see how this comes together.
It's beautiful.
And we have a nice,
that
beautiful color. Now, Kalamata olives are kind of the theme for this Greek dish that I have, and I want to show you one of the coolest things that I've done. I'm really excited about having done this, but take your Kalamata olives and lay them out on a baking tray just like this.
Pits in.
Pits in for now. You can remove the pits if you want, but they'll come out quite easily after. And this goes into your oven at 250 degrees for approximately 3 hours. Now, we've been at the restaurant where we needed them right away, and we've kind of thrown them in for like 30 minutes at like 350. But there's such a close margin of like them burning and not burning. And what happens is you're going to dehydrate these because you don't have a dehydrator at home. And if you do, kudos to you. But if you don't, you put them on the baking tray, and then literally these turn into these. And I want to show you what happens.
Those look good.
Yeah, these are dehydrated Kalamata olives. Now,
how does it change the taste of them, Dev?
The taste, these get a little bit slightly more bitter and a little bit saltier. Because we're removing the moisture. But now I can go ahead and slice these up and I can shave them down. And this makes for such a beautiful garnish on your bowls. And this is another way to take a modern approach to things. By dehydrating your olives, you're now left with these beautiful crumbs. It's all about taking those ingredients that we're used to seeing and manipulating them and turning them into a different visual experience.
So you're getting the same elements of what would be a traditional Greek salad, but done so differently.
Exactly. So who would ever think that, like, when you serve your salad, which is the brown rice and feta, that you could sprinkle Kalamata olive on top? I also have some feta cheese there too. And all I did with the feta cheese is I broke it down. And at the restaurant, we call it herbed feta. We add different types of herbs to it and things like that. But simply all you have to do is add some oregano to this. And then your feta takes on a new color. It takes on a new look. It's now speckled with this oregano, which is also very popular in Greek cooking. And this is another way. It's all about these visual things. I'm all about that. These are the things that are going to take your classic Greek salad or your classic any dish and take it to the next level. Yeah, which is very important.
Very cool. Two different olives in there? Two different olives in there?
Yeah, I have a different type of black, and then I have the Kalamata. And
lovely.
Yeah.
So cityline.tv for that recipe. Very good.
Exciting.